Hey everyone, my name is Jason Filer. I'm going to be talking today about this arrangement of When I See an Elephant Fly by Arendelle, performed by Lemon Squeezy. If you want to see the video of them performing it, that's in the description. Also in the description is an interview I did with Lemon Squeezy. It was a great talk, great time. I hope that you enjoy it if you choose to watch it. So let's talk a little bit about this arrangement. The main thing I want to talk about is the use of this chord, which is essentially an E dominant 7th chord throughout this arrangement, and sort of chords that are similar to that. So let's start from the beginning though. We have this sort of B flat dominant sound where we have the D natural. There's a 9 in it, so call it a B flat 9 chord, whatever works. And the bass sort of moves around a little bit, so I'm not too worried about that, but overall, B flat dominant sound. Then we get this nice little walk up where we go from B flat dominant, the A flat holds, and then we have an F minor 7, and then again B flat dominant. If the tenor carries over, then it could be. I believe that actually this part is written as the lead part in the original arrangement, I think, is what I've heard, but I wrote it as the tenor here just because it stays above the other treble part most of the time. So yeah, anyway, so that's a side note. And then we go from this B flat dominant chord to this E7 chord essentially. Also F flat 7 chord. I wrote it as an F flat just for ease of notation, going from the bass part, and then also because the B flat to the C flat thing kind of makes sense with the melody. So that's why I did that, but it's really just an E dominant chord. F flat is E, A flat is G sharp, D is D, and C flat is B. And the reason why this works so well coming from this chord is because these two really important notes, D and A flat, stay the same in both of these chords. Those are the 3rd and 7th of the chords, and that's what really defines the quality. So you can really easily just move around the other notes. So B flat goes to B, and then F goes to E, basically. And that just changes which one of those the root is, because they're a tritone away. So notes that are chords that are dominant 7 and a tritone away will share the same 3rd and 7th scale degree. They're just going to flip it. So in this one, the D is the 3rd, A flat is the 7th. But now here, D is the 7th and A flat, or G sharp rather, is the 3rd. So it's a really cool material that you can use there for this kind of sound. And also is nice because you go from this thing where you expect it to be like a 2-5-1, where you have B flat dominant to E flat dominant, and then finally to A flat. And we get that eventually, but not right away. So it's a really cool thing. We have this E7 moment, and then after a little bit of working around here in this chord, sort of in like another realm, then we end up on this more typical 2-5-ish moment where we have this B flat minor 7 chord, and then here we have this, it's one of those classic minor 6 chords. You can call it a slew of things. You can call it D flat minor 6. You can call it B flat half diminished, whatever works, but the point is we ended up on this E flat dominant here, and then finally to the 1, the A flat. So it's just a nice thing to have as a sort of buffer between those two sounds of the 2 dominant and the 5 dominant, is this sound where, to me, the sound is sort of based off of that E natural, the flat 6, and we can see that a little bit later too. So if we keep going, we have sort of a very typical, they have the 1, just triad, and then move down the flat 7, so we just have the 1 dominant chord, and then here is just a minor chord, the 6 minor, and then we go down again after we move this line down from F to E flat, so now it's in the 7th, and then going down to D, we can make it a dominant 7 chord, so E dominant 7, which is again that same chord as before, except I wrote it with an E this time. It's no different, it's the same chord. So, and then we move on from there to this D flat dominant chord, which works really well because there's not the big of a jump. The biggest jump is a minor 3rd, but it makes sense. We still have the C flat there, the B, which I chose to write as a C flat, but it's still just a B. So we have that common tone going forward, as well as this A flat here. And then we end up on this second inversion major triad, which comes back to first inversion here. And now here's where we get into a little bit more of the chromatic sounds. So I've talked about this before, but when you have a post like this, especially a high one, it makes a lot of sense just to try and move the lower voices of that chord as little as possible going up. And here's a great example of that. We have this A major 7 chord, or B double flat major 7, where we have A, C sharp, E, and G sharp essentially, A major 7 chord. I just wrote it with a flat version for ease of reading. I know people might not like this better, but that's just what I chose to do. Don't worry about it. And so that moves up. Those bottom 3 voices could just move up a half step to this B flat major triad, and then the A flat makes it dominant. And one more time, a C flat major triad, the A flat makes it a 6th chord. So 3 different triads, all a half step apart, working with this A flat. It's really cool to sort of just bring up the drama and the tension as we go up to other chords. So that's super helpful. And then here we have another one of these half diminished sounds where we have, you can either call it F half diminished, you can call it A flat minor 6, either way, but it's a great sound coming from here out of this especially. So, and now we land on this chord, which is a really, I'm sorry, I had to look at it because I notated it this way. Maybe I shouldn't have just done this, but I notated it with flats because it's because of the A flat in the post. So I figured that's what made the most sense. But it's basically an E add 2 chord. We have the E or F flat in the root, and then we have the 3rd is A flat, the 5th is C flat, and then the add 2 here, or the 9, the 2 is going to be this G flat here. So that's really nice because everything only has to move a half step, if at all. The C flat and A flat don't move. E flat goes up to F flat, and D flat goes up to, F goes up to G flat. Works very nicely here. And then we have a scissor here where C flat to F flat to C flat. So we just sort of change who's doing what, but it's the same chord. And then we go to this really nice G flat add 2. So that's a great sound as well, because we have E add 2, G flat add 2. And that really sort of leads you to the root. It's a very classic kind of flat 6, flat 7 to 1 moment, except we don't go right to the 1. If you want to see a great example of that, watch the Whitney Houston national anthem for the Super Bowl, because I believe that arrangement goes flat 6, flat 7 to 1. And then here, at the very end, we have another one of these B double flat major 7 chords where we have A, E, G sharp, and C sharp, essentially. And then we again have, of course, we can't have an arrangement like this end with something other than the classic minor 6 sound, or rather 4 minor 6, or 2 half diminished, whatever works, whatever floats your boat. The point is that we have this nice G flat add 2 again, which then goes up here. It's just one way of doing it. There's a bunch of ways you could do this. You could either have it just the baritone start in this F flat, so it's a G flat dominant 9 chord, and then have the bass move from the G flat to the D flat, giving it that 4 to 1 sound. But this is just a cool way because we have movement in both the bass and the baritone. So we go from this G flat add 2 to D flat minor 6 because of the F flat, and then that resolves so nicely to the final 1 chord. So that's all I have to say about this arrangement. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, please feel free to check out the original video by Lemon Squeezy, as well as my interview I did with them recently. It was a great talk. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have an incredible day.